Welcome to the MediTouch Patient Portal and Electronic Health Records demonstration. The entire demonstration today will be recorded from an iPad to show you the full functionality of our MediTouch Patient Portal and EHR on a touch screen. We're going to begin the demonstration in the Patient Portal, showing you the patient experience with the practice. And then we're going to jump into the medical records to show you how clinical staff and providers can do their charting straight from an iPad. The screen you're looking at now is the login screen to our patient portal. However, patients can access the portal not only from this login screen, but practices can make the login box to our patient portal embedded right in their website, so patients can access the portal right from the practice website. In addition, if patients are not native English speakers, they can select a language to translate the patient portal to. Patients will use a secure username and password to get into the portal. Our patient today is Bob Jerry. And when Bob attempts to log into the portal, you'll notice when he eventually does log in, these beautiful tiles pop up on the screen. The patient can access the portal from any device, smartphone, tablet, desktop, or laptop. The tiles are built for touch. You'll also notice our Your Health File logo on the top left corner. That can be replaced with the practice's logo. The practice has the opportunity to brand our patient portal. And the tiles should be very self-explanatory, but you'll notice the first tile in red, View Charges. Patients who owe money to the practice for outstanding balances like co-pays that weren't paid up front or deductibles can go online and pay their balance right through the patient portal. Patients also have the opportunity to request appointments through our patient portal, and I'll actually show you the two different ways that patients can request appointments with the practice. Let's click on the Schedule Appointment tile. And then we'll show you the first method, which allows the patient to pick a location and a provider and request certain days and times that the patient's available to go into the practice. The practice then matches up that day and time to their schedule and sends the patient a confirmation to the desired time for the appointment. Alternatively, a patient can actually see open time slots on a calendar like this, and they can request an individual date and time that they'd like to be seen, and the practice can then confirm that time with the patient. Back on the home screen, you'll notice there's a Review Medical Record tile and a Message a Doctor tile. These two tiles are extremely important for meaningful use and MIPS, as there are certain measures in both the Meaningful Use program and MIPS program that are tied to these two functions of patients being able to view certain parts of their medical record and being able to message the practice securely. The tile on the top right, Appointment Check-in, is quite unique. When we tap that tile on our touchscreen, you'll notice that we allow the patient through the patient portal to fill out certain histories online before their visit. This can be done at home, or a lot of our practices will give patients iPads in the waiting room to fill out the subjective segments of the note, and the information that's filled out by the patient will populate right back into the medical record for the provider and clinical staff. We're going to fill out a few items here on our appointment check-in process, and you're going to see how that information pulls right back into the medical records for Bob when we visit the EHR in a few moments. Just for brevity purposes, we'll add a few structured pieces of data. Like, let's say that Bob wanted to put a new medication into his med list. We can click or touch, the Add a Medication button, and we'll use our search here to find maybe just a dosage of Advil. We'll touch on that medication. Just try it one more time. And save the medication. Notice that that Advil is in a tan color That medication is yet to be approved by the clinical staff or provider. And when we get into the medical records, we'll show how we can make that Advil a part of the patient's medical record. We'll go ahead and add one more piece of data here, maybe a medical history. There's already some medical histories in his chart, but we'll go ahead and add another one. Just touch on add medical history. And we'll say that Bob reports asthma. And we'll go ahead and tap on the asthma button and save our changes. So just as a reminder, everything I've been doing thus far has been straight from the iPad. Full functionality for a patient in the patient portal on the touchscreen device. Let's segue away from patient portal and move right into the electronic health records. Now what you're looking at is the main dashboard screen of the EHR. It's the landing page for a provider or clinical staff when they first log into the system. And just like the patient has full functionality of the patient portal from an iPad, the provider and clinical staff can do everything in our health records from a touchscreen device like the iPad. The buttons should be nice and big, built for fingertip touch. To begin a visit for Bob, who was our patient in the patient portal, you'll see him there at 3 p.m. on the schedule. When we tap on the time button for Bob, you'll notice the SOAP buttons light up on the left-hand side. That's how we know we're in the visit, charting a face-to-face visit with Bob today. Before we get started with his SOAP note, notice our warning across the top. Bob tried to add medications and medical histories to his chart via the patient portal. Now the clinical staff can confirm those changes to the patient's medical record just by navigating to the S button and medication history. And there's that 100 milligram Advil tablet that Bob tried to add to the patient portal, from the patient portal into his record. And we'll go ahead and select the Advil and accept that right into his med list. So you can see how seamlessly integrated our patient portal is with our health records. And we'll show you that same workflow with the medical history that Bob tried to add through his portal. There's that asthma. We'll go ahead and touch it, accept it, and include it right into the medical record. This blue encounter number button previews our note, and we can see our SOAP note starting to build. And if we want to document within the SOAP note, there's a lot of different ways to do that. We call those methods the 3 T's of documentation. I can type anywhere in the note that I'd like. I can talk, use dictation like Siri or Dragon. And then I can also type as well. So we call those 3 T's touch, talk, or type. The little notes icon under Chief Complaint will open up my text box here in the SOAP note and allow me to either type or talk within the box. In today's example, I'm going to use Siri on my iPad to dictate right into the Chief Complaint. Bob is an 82-year-old male complaining of a cough for the past 2 weeks. The cough is productive and getting worse over time. I cut my dictation off a little bit earlier. Nope, it looks like it got it. Got the whole sentence right in there. So you can see how we can dictate right into the note. And when we save it, it looks like a really nice narrative built right into the software. But dictation, like we mentioned, isn't the only way to get data in. We could type as well. I'm not a strong typist, so I prefer not to type too much. I like to talk. Or alternatively, we can use touch buttons. So let's move down into our physical exam and use some touch buttons. Every body system that I examine for Bob's cough today, maybe we'll check his stomach, we'll check his lungs and his heart. Maybe we'll also do an ENT exam. All these buttons that I'm selecting are turning green, which means the normal state of the exam, the default negatives are already in my note. And you'll see those default negatives populate right into the physical exam for me. So I can avoid a lot of typing or even dictation of a lot of the complex medical terms just by using my touch buttons. And each provider can customize their default negatives or default normals to be exactly the way they would like to chart within the physical exam. But remember, Bob was coughing, so there might be a positive physical exam finding. How do we document that? Well, think of the 3 T's. I can type over these phrases, I can talk over them, but the preferred method for most of our providers is to use the preloaded widgets or touch buttons that we have loaded in the physical exam. So let's go ahead and drill down into respiratory and auscultation. And we'll go ahead and pretend today that Bob is wheezing. When we touch the wheezing button twice, it takes us to our descriptors. Our descriptors are going to describe the patient's positive findings. Maybe the patient, Bob, is wheezing at the upper lobe bilaterally. We just touch a few buttons to build our sentence, and we're done. You'll see how fast the system moves as we touch through the buttons. It should be just as fast for you. Now we're on an iPad. An iPad you can talk to. You can touch buttons on the iPad, but it also has a camera, so you can take pictures on the iPad as well and pull those patient images right into the note and draw on them with different colors and different widths of the lines. Now I already took an image of Bob and saved it to the chart, but I'm going to pull it into today's note for you. I will click on the little image icon, tap patient images, but you'll see that upload patient image button. That would be where I pull an image in straight from the iPad camera. But today we'll just attach that picture of the hand. We'll say not only was Bob coughing, but he noticed he had a little rash on his arm, and we wanted to document that in his chart. We'll attach that image right to the note, pull it open, and just with our finger on the iPad, or you could use a stylus if you'd like, you can draw on that image with different colors and different widths of the lines. And we'll save it right into their chart. Next, we'll jump into the plan. In the plan, there are a lot of action items like prescribing and ordering labs. In today's demo, we'll just sample a prescription. So if we go to the plan and prescribe, you'll notice the patient's active med list listed below. Our prescribing module has the ability to pull in prescriptions that were prescribed to the patient by other physicians. That's the prescription history. We also have the ability to get formulary status on the medications to see if they're covered under the patient's insurance. We do support the electronic prescription of a controlled substance, and providers can prescribe medications right from their mobile phone. Today, we'll just take one medication off their active med list, like that Flonase. Tap on the e-prescribe button to refill the medication. And the last step will be to confirm our SIG and confirm our pharmacy and tap the transmit button. When we click on the encounter number button at the top, we can preview everything we've done today. And remember, the note today was built using dictation tools like Siri on the iPad and touch buttons on the iPad as well. Thank you so much for viewing this quick MediTouch demonstration. We look forward to giving you a full-length demonstration in the future.